Hello everyone, my name is Brigitte Daniel and I'm a 2011 Eisenhower Fellow who traveled to India and the first Eisenhower Fellow to travel to Sri Lanka. I was actually in Colombo and I loved it. Welcome everyone. We will look forward to you coming to Philadelphia as you travel and share your Eisenhower experiences with us and actually embark on this life-changing experience that you'll never forget. This is one of those times when you will just grow and experience new things and really professionally advance your career. So the USA Fellows are scattered all throughout the United States and mainly clustered in 4 major hubs. 1 is Philadelphia, which you'll be visiting. 2 is the Research Triangle in North Carolina. 3 is in Boston. And 4 is in St. Louis, Missouri. Additionally, there are agriculture fellows who are also scattered in rural areas around the country. But wherever we are in the United States, we all look forward to welcoming you and sharing our experience with you, and more importantly, expanding our Eisenhower network. This is so key, and we're just looking forward to the SARC Fellows to come and really kind of have a very good exchange. So we have collected following words of advice from international fellows who just traveled and wanted to share their suggestions with you.
One piece of advice I would say, like to give to all of you guys is this 6-7 weeks of journey that you're going to make as an Eisenhower Fellow is I'm sure is going to be, if not transformational, very profound in your life. So to really make best use of this 7 weeks journey, I would advise you to do a lot of homework, a lot of preparation before you come, because I've learned the hard way, in spite of lots of advices coming from the Eisenhower Fellowship, that the involvement of the fellow in preparing the program a priori is very important.
My name is Anati. I'm from South Africa on the MNP program for 2011. If I think about what I would do differently, if I were to do the fellowship all over again, I would be far more involved in the program design and the decisions around the meetings that I will be having. Some of the most interesting meetings that I had were also some of the shortest. And I found myself wishing that, I had a whole day with this institution, or I had 3 hours with this particular person. That said, that's very difficult to anticipate. But I think that, one could think more about how the fellowship is going to pan out from the point of view of what you really want to get out of the fellowship.
So my advice to the fellows, future fellows, is very simple one, and it is a very important one, which I learned the hard way, is you have to plan early. You have to make sure that you have the meetings kind of set up even before you come, and you have to start, perhaps weeks, maybe even months prior to your arrival. And what might help is to send your program officer contacts that you may have in the cities or in wherever you plan to go. Because the program officers can only do so much. They can call them, they can email them, but not always they can get all the appointments. But it may be that your contact can easily get that appointment because he or she is known to that person or is connected in some way. So if you connect your contact and the PO, the likelihood of getting your appointment, I think, increases by 300%.
The key success factor of this fellowship is to meet with proper people, depending on your interest or field. In this regard, most important thing is the communication with your PO, program officer. Okay. And before coming to the US, US, it might be difficult for fellows to specify many people to meet with, considering the limited exposure to the US. And what the fellow should do is to look into the interest and clarify the interest as much as they can, and then deliver it to the program officers. And program officer would arrange the meetings that the fellow could never think about, but are very fruitful and rewarding. And actually, in my case, I experienced a number of remarkable meetings that I could hardly expect without program officer's support.
Yeah, when we plan our future research, we imagine that we know relatively where we want to go and what to want to ask and what to want to know. That was my case on my case, because I know that I was imagining I will meet 30 women, I will meet 30 law enforcers, and I will meet 30 local representatives to understand the whole system. But when I came here, it was totally different. It was totally different layers of knowledge, layers of people that I should discover and understand. 50% was my PO as a suggestion, and 25% was my wish list, and other 25% came completely new during the fellowship. So please communicate with your PO very, very honestly what you know, what you don't know. And then the filling the gap will be very easy. And my advice will be just be honest, and if you don't understand what you want to learn, just be honest about it in the planning stage.
I arrived in Philadelphia with very heavy suitcases, with lots and lots of clothes that I would never wear. But you know that you think that because you'll be in a hurry, you'll not have time to buy stuff, and because the weather changes so dramatically from winter to summer in April and May, somehow you overpack. So after 1 or 2 weeks, and the trauma of carrying so much weight, you start to be less demanding about your appearance. So definitely, if you are a fellow and you are coming to Philadelphia next year, please bring less shoes, less suits, less ties, especially in my area. I mean, urban planners, architects, and journalists, they almost don't wear ties and suits anymore. I mean, they are not like Mark Zuckerberg, but they are not like Wall Street bankers. So you don't need to carry so much clothes. And if you know how to press, to iron your clothes, I mean, every hotel that I have been through the US, there is an iron, so you can be in a good shape without being too messy. And definitely try to be aware where is the nearest FedEx or the nearest UPS, and send the books back home.
In terms of profound experience, my visit to Maine was, I guess, one of the defining moments of my fellowship. I spent a whole weekend, the Easter weekend, in Maine. I got there on Thursday, and that was different because it was I was seeing a totally different part of America. It was the most rural part I went to. I visited a farm. I got to pick lobster and cook lobster and had a wonderful Easter meal. But the interesting thing was I spent a whole weekend with a USA Fellow who had been a former senator in our state. And we had wonderful exchange, which was not just technical, but covered the whole aspect of life, relationships, issues about making law, what is important about life. And I think that weekend had the most profound effect on me because it put in perspective the whole essence of why I was in the US. that why I'm in the US concentrating on understanding regulatory reform is because it is about people. She made me understand the value of people, the importance of people driving everything I do as a lawyer, the importance of people driving everything I do as a contributor or a shaper or influencer of policy and regulation in my country. And so that visit had profound impression on me, and it's an experience that is going to stay with me for a long time.